You know, if you have a guy who comes in and does the show and he doesn't practice and he doesn't write, he doesn't contribute, he just, basically comes in, like, does that person get a part of that $1 million bonus, or are they becoming someone who you're going to use part of that $1 million out of your cut to pay them as a hired gun,
Right.
right? If that's the situation, you kind of need to think about that ahead, because you
Hmm.
don't want to get into a situation where you're like making progress and you get an offer for $1 million deal and you are now committed, and bro's like, hey man, I can't go on tour because I got my job at Chili's.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
gonna we're gonna punch you into $1 million contract, but you can't even go on tour.
Yeah.
You can't
Exactly.
fulfill the rights of the band. You can't fulfill the actual needs, right? That's a very different conversation, a very
Yeah.
difficult conversation. And that band debt, that how much do you owe back to the record label, right? Is something a
Right.
lot of people don't think about. And
Hmm.
so I think for me, like when you dig into these conversations, that's why, like, when you get into a band, for me personally, when I join a band, it is toxicity aside, right? Like, no, there's no drug use, there is no like extreme alcoholism, there is no toxic personality traits that I don't want to deal with, because
Hmm.
if I get $1 million contract because of the work that we're doing, do I want to share it with someone who shows up high every single practice, doesn't
Hmm.
contribute, can't make it on tour, doesn't sleep through gigs? Like, is that someone you want to share that pot with? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it's equal rights. It's either you're the owner or you're one of the artists. And if you're a five-way ownership team, I'm not sure anybody who's tried to be married to five different people, but it's not easy,
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And
right?
also, like to that point, um, if you find yourself struggling to even have those discussions, or you're afraid, or you need to, then that's an indicator that you're not in it for the business, you're in it for the fun.
It's a hobby.
And it's a hobby. It's not a
Yep.
business. Unless you have the grit to have those hard conversations and really like, because like you said, if they fall into, even if they do as well as they do organically, when they come to a point where they get offered $1 million deal or they get offered a ridiculous opportunity, it will fall apart if there isn't that structure in place and those agreements in place to begin with. And a lot of times, like, I don't have direct label, experience. I've never been offered a record deal, but I know people who have, and I've
Mhm.
also witnessed a lot of things. And all the ones that I know personally that have gotten deals and have been successful were the people that had that business mindset. They had those agreements. They understood who were hired guns versus the owners and doing that. And all the ones where it wasn't, they fell apart and they went into
Yep.
debt. They didn't, or they ended up not following through, and you never
Mhm.
heard of them. And then everyone also, in the end, it kind of makes the band implode.
Yeah.
Like they come up with this great opportunity, have some agreements that wasn't set forth in the beginning,
Yep.
and all falls apart, and a bunch of people's time was wasted.